trader, welcome back to this new weekly market outlook where we prepare as usual for the upcoming week. I will share with you the level I will look for and my plan for specifically the major dollar pairs and commodities. So let's start with the economic calendar. So what's the important news to pay attention for this week? So by the way, the, the month of February was over. We starting a new month of March. So on Monday, nothing interesting except the PMI on euro, final manufacturing PMI. We also have the final manufacturing PMI on pound. Will be interesting. The PMI on USD dollar. We also have the PMI on Canadian dollar. So pretty much the PMI on the major economy. Then we have maybe pay attention on what will be the release on annual budget on the United Kingdom. We also have the Aussie, the GDP on Aussie dollar, interesting on Wednesday. The CPI month on month on Swiss franc, PMI on euro. This is we had on the beginning of the week the manufacturing PMI, and then we also have the service PMI. Very interesting on euro. We also have the ATP number, which will be kind of early release on jobs data before the big number, the NFP, at the end of the week, which is Friday. So very interesting. So that's it, pretty much the news I will pay attention for this week. So let's start directly with the DXY. So on DXY, we close bullish on February. You can see the monthly candle. So it's not like something like that. We don't have an engulfing candle which engulfed the previous one, but we have pretty much a shy candle, I would say. So not so bullish, but we have some bias, yes. But we can clearly see if I show my markups, price is still holding on this monthly demand, and plus of the fact that we are on the bottom of this channel I am talking about since the beginning of the month, the year. So price is stuck right there. So if we go to the weekly, we see we are doing ping pong between these supports and this resistance. So we have not closed below this level. So I want to see the number of on NFP. Is it going to go higher? Strong jobs will maybe push the DXY even higher. Or if we get this week, for example, a poor number, this will probably push the DXY lower. When we go to the daily, we still have the daily order flow. You can clearly see if I take my last order flow daily from this high to this low, you can see we pretty much touch the premium zone. So last week, if you pay attention on what I'm saying last week, I was looking for continuation of the DXY, something like that, a retest around this demand and a continuation towards this supply zone. So we didn't get that last week. We pretty much range all last week. So yeah, on 4 hour, what do we have on 4 hour? We have a 4 hour order flow bullish. I think we pretty much break this high, so expecting some retracement around discount zone to buy again the DXY. But we need to see some strong macro, specifically on jobs data this week. So if not, I will reconsider the bearishness if price decide to finally broke and close below this 4 hour order flow, and then I think I will change my bias. But right now I still want to see the DXY going higher. Okay, that's my plan for DXY. We will see. Is the next one is EURUSD. So EURUSD, the last month we closed, I would say, a very indecision candle. So but I still want to see EURUSD drop lower, because as I mentioned on my weekly market outlook, we are in the top of the channel, and I think EURUSD is overbought. So that's why I want to see some retracement that's imply a strain on US dollar to make the EURUSD drop. So that's what I want to see on EURUSD. Remember, we are rejecting this order block. You see, we have some order block here, or supply or resistance, call it what we want, what you want, but we have some, it's clear we have some resistance here. We are rejecting the high, the level, this level clearly. So I will not be shocked if we see some retracement at least around this level or towards the 50% mark of the channel. That's pretty much what I want to see on EURUSD. On weekly, if I take from this low to this high, can clearly see we already reached the 50%, but there's not a lot of buyers coming from the discount zone. So that's what I'm thinking for this week. On the buy side, maybe price reach this high at least. On the sell side, I want to target this low, even this low, to fill the gap which is left right there. So that's my plan. You can also see this target on sell side is overlapping with the yearly open, which is a strong zone. Let's go to the daily. Daily. So on daily, what do we have? We still have the daily order flow bullish. If I take a measure my last order flow daily, we are already in discount zone, but we didn't have enough strength last week to bring price up to continue this trend, you can see. So that's why, plus the fact that we still have this demand zone. If I zoom, we have not tested this demand yet. So that's why I think I will not surprise if price decide to drop even further, because we have this level. We also have this demand zone, which is still on test. Okay. On the 4-hour EURUSD, we can see we have the order flow for our bearish. For this week, I want to see some retracement around the 50%, maybe around this level or this level. We also have an imbalance right there. So if price decide to retrace even further in a premium zone, I want to see a sell-off right there, because I still think we have some zone to reach here. But I need to see some strength on USD dollar in the macroeconomy to be able to take this kind of trade. Okay. I can also illustrate by this. You can clearly see I put some highlights around the 50%. So price could reach. I want to see price. Reach at least this level, or maybe this level, to take a shot. Overall, I am bearish. I'm still bearish on EURUSD, because I still think EURUSD is overbought. I think on higher time frame, so we need some strength on US dollar to be able to short this market. And if we didn't get, and if we do not get some strength on US dollar, but for example a weak report on jobs data on NFP on Friday, if we break this high, for example we close above this time, I will reconsider the continuation of this daily order flow. Okay, but this is the kind of scenario I don't want to see. I want to see the continuation to the downside. That's the scenario I will want to see. Next one is the pound USD. Pound USD, the same thing. I want to see a bearish on pound USD. We can see the last month February closed bearish. So for me, it will be very interesting if we see a continuation at least around this imbalance. You can see I mark up here. This is the imbalance. I want to see price fail for the rest of this month. On top of that, we are rejecting this level. So I already explained why, because of this monthly imbalance in my last weekly outlook. Let's go to the weekly time frame. We still have the weekly order flow bullish, but because we are overbought, and we still have the pound fundamentally weak, which is fundamentally weak. So if I take my Fibonacci, we see that price is stuck around the 50% of Fibonacci. We also have a lot of obstacles. We have the yearly open. We have, if I zoom out, the point of control from the last year, which is already acting as a support, which is very strong. So all this level is acting like a break of wall that price needs to really break with a strength. Maybe the strength will come from NFP this week, I don't know, but we need to see some strength breaking this wall before starting to see a continuation to the downside. Okay, let's go to the daily. Daily, same thing as USD. We still bullish on daily order flow, but because we are overbought on higher time frame, I will not be surprised if we take this low. Before taking this low, you can clearly see we have some demand which is holding price right now. So to break it, we need some strength on US dollar. So this week on the buy side, I want to see price retrace at the premium zone around this imbalance before taking a shot to the downside. So that's the kind of scenario I want to see. You can see it clearly on 4-hour. Let me show you. We have can see we have the 4-hour order flow. We have retraced. I don't think we retrace already around the premium zone. Yeah, we already tapped the 50%, which is crazy. Let me get rid of that. Yeah, I just measure my last order flow 4-hour from this high to this low. We retrace. We already tapped the 50%, and we have already reject the premium. So, but we, price was not able to break below this low. So, to continue the order flow for our bearish, I need to see a break of this low. You can see we didn't break, so want to see a break and a retest before taking a short toward this zone and this level. So let's see how price develop this week. But overall, I have two scenarios. The first scenario is a retracement around this premium zone and find a setup to the downside with a short. The second scenario will be a break directly of this demand zone, retest, and position myself in a short. Overall, I want to see a more bearishness on the pound. I'm bearish. The next one is AUD/USD. So AUD/USD, you know that OZ is still bullish fundamentally speaking. We seems like we are targeting this high. We have not taken this high yet, but the monthly close bullish, we have a lot of probability that we still continue until we tap this high. So let's go to the weekly. Weekly, we are bullish from this low to this high. You can clearly see the last week we closed also bullish, which is a good sign for a continuation for the following week. On daily, we have the other flow from this low to this high, so we are still bullish. Very strong trend. If I measure my last movement on this high, we have already tapped the 50% of this movement, so it seems like we are not going to retrace even further because AUD is very strong. So it seems like price wants to continue taking these highs. Yeah, that's what I believe right now. So I want to see. So let's go to the 4-hour. So in 4-hour, let me get rid of that. Yeah, so you can clearly see the structure. We pretty much shift to the upside. We break one time this previous structure. We break another structure. So I think price retrace could retrace again around the discount zone and then move to the upside again, targeting this high. So that's pretty much what I want to see. If I measure, you can clearly see up. If I measure from this low to this high, yeah, that's pretty much my scenario. My first scenario will be with the strength on US dollar. There is a possibility that price drop lower, and at some point, maybe, for example, if we have strong NFP, even if price decide to drop even lower, that's I doubt right now because we need a lot of strength to drive price even lower. I don't think so. I think, or I want to see at least a retrace around this zone, this point of control from the last month, and then find a setup to buy again the AUD/USD. That's kind of my ideal scenario on this pair. The other scenario is price decide we already retest the 50% of Fibonacci, and price decide to break above, retest the, above the point of control for the last week, and then target finally this level. This is two scenario I'm seeing right now: a break to the upside or a little bit of retracement on sell side, and then another buy. That's the kind of scenario I want to see on AUD, on Aussie dollar. Okay, so I'm bullish. The next one is Kiwi dollar. So Kiwi dollar, we price is supported by this demand zone on monthly. If I zoom, get rid of that, you can clearly see we close with an indecision candle on February. So price could move up and can also move down. We don't really know at this point. Let's go down to the weekly. Weekly, we still have this low, which can be taken at any moment. So let's go down to the daily to see it clearly. We can clearly see we have this last daily order flow. I'm bullish on NZDUSD, but the best scenario will be I want to see if I measure my last order flow daily, maybe some kind of retracement around the 50%, maybe around this imbalance, and then find an entry to buy this pair. If not, and maybe we have a weakness on US dollar, price could possibly decide to continue the trend to the upside from this level. Okay, let's go to the 4 hour. 4 hour, I don't have much information because I think we we are bullish on 4 hour from this low to this high because we already break this high, so price just retrace to the demand zone. So I wanted to see a strong move to the upside and then find the continuation trade to the upside, but it seems like this is a range on NZDUSD. So it depends on what the dollar will do this week to find the direction. But right now, I will stay away of this pair until we have a clear direction on the DXY. The next one is USDJPY. So USDJPY, we the last month closed bullish. I would not say so much bullish because we have a long week at the downside, a long week at the upside. So it seems like it's also an indecision candle. So we have the imbalance. We have not fully filled this imbalance. So we still have some marge down there. Let's go to the weekly. So in weekly, you can clearly see we don't have a specific trend on weekly because I think price is stuck between this high and this low. We are ranging in between clearly, but currently we are located in a premium zone, I would say. So for me, is a better price to sell, I think, because we are in the premium zone of the range. But to sell this market, we need to see a weakness on US dollar and a bit of strength on Japanese yen, which could be possible because if I go back to the Japanese yen basket, you can clearly see we we pretty much we took the all-time low of the Japanese yen basket. So at this point, the yen is very very weak. So I will not be surprised the Bank of Japan will intervene on this because we have high inflation from the last report on the Japanese economy. So at any moment, Bank of Japan could decide to hike rates. So hiking rates will bring some volatility on Japanese yen. For example, if we see, can clearly see we have the last intervention of Bank of Japan was, I think, around this. We have a big pump up to the upside, a retracement, weakness, another pump. We have retracement, so weakness. So I will not be surprised if we get another pump soon on the Japanese yen. So that's why I am a bit skeptical on keep buying this pair to the upside. So on the long term, I think because we already had a daily order flow bearish, I think we in the long term we're going to sell again with the intervention. If we have some intervention from the Bank of Japan, we could possibly see another sell-off on this pair. So, but right now the Japanese yen is weak, and if we get another strength on US dollar, we could potentially, I think, in 4 hour we kind of have some internal order flow which is taking place right now. So we could continue this order flow at least toward the supply zone. We also have a order block right there. We could possibly test at the end of the week, or not possibly the end of the week, maybe the following week, the next week, where we could see another potential sell-off of this market. So I will be very very cautious on this pair because USD is weak right now, but we have some news this week, and the Japanese yen could, because we are already at the lowest point in Japanese yen basket, we could possibly see some strength coming from the Japanese yen. So yeah, very very careful for this pair, but I think I will let it aside and maybe focus on other pairs until the price reach at least around the supply zone. I think this is where we could possibly have the best setup to sell this market. The next one is USDCAD. So USDCAD, from my last market outlook, I already said I am bearish long term on USDCAD because of the higher time frame structure. I we close with an indecision candle on the monthly time frame. So yeah, on weekly we still have this order flow bearish. So my plan is still the same I was expecting. So I want to see a retrace at least around this imbalance zone. You can see I put some highlight here, but it seems like Price is already rejecting the yearly open, which could be considered as a strong level of resistance. We see we have rejected many times, so I will not be surprised if we continue to reject this level to target these lows. But I need to see some weakness on US dollar and some strength on Canadian dollar, which could already be the case, because if I go back, I think we got interesting news on Canadian dollar. I think last week on Friday, yeah, is on the growth. We got a little bit more than expected on growth, which is very good for Canadian economy. So if we keep continue to have good good news on growth, I think this week, for example, if only filter the Canadian dollar this week, we have the manufacturing PMI, have the EV PMI. So I will look if we keep following the growth on Canadian dollar, maybe we could possibly see the strength coming from Canadian dollar and going lower. Okay. So in daily we still have the daily order flow bearish. So I was expecting at least a return around this premium zone to see a nice sell-off of the USDCAD. It seems like we are not going to reach this level, because when I go to the 4 hour, I started to see some order flow bearish setting up. So I will not be surprised if this week we return and test at least this point of control from the last month around there to find a setup to the downside, at least to this demand zone. This is a possibility. So even though I wanted to see price reach further premium zone before taking a huge sell off, yeah, we will see this all these things depending on what the US dollar will do. So this is my scenario. My best scenario will be this, but I would not exclude that in lower time frame we're starting to see order flow bearish. So a retracement around this level will be interesting to short, but we need to see good number or a strong macroeconomy on Canadian dollar on top of that. The next one is USDCHF. So USDCHF we are bearish. We close bearish on monthly time frame. Weekly time frame bearish. Want to target this low as my target of the week, at least. On sell side, let's go to the daily. We are bearish. See from this high to this low. Do we retrace? I think, yeah, we barely touched the 50%. So that's why I wanted to see price retest at least around this premium zone before dropping again. But it seems like the trend is very, very strong to the downside. So maybe price don't need to retrace in the premium. We will see. On 4 hour, 4 hour we didn't even have a trend, because I think price is stuck between this high and this low. Anything in this between this is a range, I think, on 4 hour. But I will not deny in 1 hour we have some order flow. See, order flow bearish. So maybe a retracement around this point of control will be very interesting to short. Continue at least, maybe targeting this low. We will see. So that's pretty much my target, and I think the USDCHF is still bearish because the Swiss franc is very, very strong. This is also due to the uncertainty surrounding the world. So we call it the risk off environment. So in risk off environments, instrument or currency like CHF or gold or even Japanese yen, but Japanese is not the case right now. All those, they have a set of assets which getting strong in risk off environment. So I'm bearish overall on USDCHF. First scenario, retrace around there and then a short, or if you have another strong retest, I will be shorting at least around this level. This represent my premium zone. Overall, I want to see a short on this pair. The next one is the gold. So gold, it seems like gold is flying again. We close bullish at the end of February. Go to the weekly. The weekly close bullish. Very interesting. On daily, what do we have in daily? We are bullish. It seems like the trend is gone again. So from this last order flow daily, from this low to this high, we have already retraced deeper on discounts, and it seems like the rally is set again. So I was talking about paying attention on this imbalance zone, specifically the top of this imbalance. I have said that if we break it and retest, we are ready to go. So I missed the entry last week, yeah, because I was busy, but it seems like we have already closed above this high, which is very interesting. Maybe a retracement around this level to enter this market. It's not late to take a trade on gold. I think this will be very interesting for me to take a trade on at the beginning of the week. We know that the gold like the uncertainty, and I read that we have some strike on in the Middle East. If I don't mistaken, if I go to the news, yeah, we have the tension is still there. We have some strike current situation. The situation is not really good right now in the Middle East. So in any way, gold like the KO, the uncertainty. That's why I think gold will keep pushing. As long as this tension continue, gold is pushing, man. He's really pushing. So let's go to the 4 hour. So on 4 hour, we can see we have the 4 hour is bullish from this low to this high. So last week, I was waiting price to retrace a little bit deeper around this demand zone, but we didn't get that. Price already test this level and goes up again. So we have a channel which is setting up right now. Okay, so I was expect for this week at least price reach around this supply. If not, at least the top of the channel somewhere here. Let me mark up somewhere here, the top of the channel somewhere here. So for this, I want to see some retracement because we have break this high we close above. Maybe some retracement around the point of control of the week, of the last week. Find an entry there and continue the move to the upside. That's pretty much my my scenario I will looking for in gold. The sell side scenario will be a deeper retracement at least around this demand zone. I don't know if price will retrace, but we have NFP this week, so maybe we will get a lot of movement. But if price retrace, I will take buy from it. Okay, so first answer here, second answer here, but it seems like God will be the pair of the week, the pair I will watch, I will looking for this week. It is an interesting pair for this week. The same thing for silver. So silver is following gold at the same time. So it seems like we finally broke this level I was talking about. We broke this level. So we form some sort of demand here, overlapping the off with the point of control from the last month. Maybe expecting some retracement around this level and taking a buy again. First puffing around the 100 and maybe next target around this imbalance right there. So this will be very interesting this week. So the next one is the US oil, crude oil. It seems like with all this tension, crude oil is very volatile right now. So need to be cautious on this one. But we can see the last month closed bullish. So we could expect some continuation at least around this level, this high. You see a markup which correspond with the top of this descending channel. So this could be my target for this month. My first target for this one on buy side. Let's go to the weekly. So weekly, if I take for my last order flow weekly, from this high to this low, we have already retraced around the 50%. We had some rejection around this level, but we can see on last week we closed above the 50%. So maybe I'm not so sure. I will be cautious, as I said, with the volatility right now in the market. I will be very cautious, but seeing a retest and a target around the 61% of Fibonacci will be a nice target for the next week to keep continue this movement to the upside. On daily, we still have the daily order flow bullish from this low to this high. So not we have not sign of weakness on the crude oil. On 4 hour, what do we have? We have this trend line which is supporting the trend. I talked about this demand zone last week. I was waiting a retest and a continuation of this movement. It seems like the opportunity play out well, but I was not in front of my chart, or I have not set an alert around this level because I was already trading another pairs, and I didn't want to be exposed on this such a volatility right now. So but this was a good call out. Then for this week, as I said, want to see maybe some retracement around this imbalance or even deeper this level to find an entry, at least targeting this 61.8%, which is a level of Fibonacci, and maybe target this as the next target. But for this week, targeting this will be a realistic target. The last one is natural gas. So natural gas, I'm still bullish, even though my actual trade is in a severe drawdown. So I said as long as the winter season is not over, I will hold on this trade. You can clearly see the price is distributing around this channel. We have a first movement, I think, on January. There is a lot of demand due to, I think, the winter storm that happened in North America. And then we have a decrease of demand, a usual decrease. So I'm expecting, or not expecting, I want to see another second demand, huge demand coming at least from this demand zone, because this is the demand, this is the origin of this move. So let's go to the daily. Want to see some signal. We already took this low. If I go to the daily, it seems like we are already breaking the channel, but in some configuration we could break a channel and reintegrate again. I've seen it dozens of times. This come with experience, but as long as my last line of defense will be this low. If I see price close below, I think I'm done with this trade. I will lose, I think, a huge amount, because I have a bad entry. So this will be my very big lose on natural gas since the beginning of this year 2026. So let's see what's happened. Plus the fact that the last data on natural gas was down 52 billion cubic feet. We get on January around 200, down 242 billion cubic feet. But compared to the 52 billion feet, is very low. This is a low demand, so yeah, it's better than expected. It seems like we had some demand last week, but it was not a strong demand. What I want to see is maybe 2 or 3 successive weeks in a row of demand better than expected, and then some sort of configuration in the chart. Let's go to the 4 hour. Some sort of change of structure. We're breaking the previous high, starting to see some demand, and then I will add another contract. But if I'm not seeing these conditions fundamentally and technically, I think I will close the trade if we broke this last line of defense. Okay, so that's pretty much my plan on natural gas. So this is the end of the video. Please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. This will help me know that you appreciate my content. Thank you for watching. Have a nice trading week and be very careful on the market. The market is very volatile right now. You know, it was Josue, the part-time trader. I'm out.